Did I miss the agenda?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Let me get that to you.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'm not sure whether we have a quorum. There are four of us here. Shalimar is out, and there's only one other person that could be here. So, is that right? Yeah. So I think we have a quorum. If not,
Yeah, I don't remember if our quorums are based on the 9 or on however many people are present.
or however many
Remember what
people
a
are
quorum
active
is.
members of the commission.
Right, I think we determined last time that it was a quorum from the number of commissioners we actually have.
Okay, so if that's
So
the
I
case,
think we're down, are we down 2 commissioners from the 9?
at least.
At least, yeah.
Right, so I think we need 4.
And you got it. So we have a quorum. So let's call the meeting to order. The first order of business is an approval of the minutes. We don't need a formal vote with regard to that. Does anybody have any corrections or additions to the minutes? If not, I declare the minutes approved. This is the minutes for the month of May 2021. Okay. The next order of business is approval of the cases that were considered for this month that the subcommittee went over. Do we have any recusals with regard to the cases recommended for approval for June 2021?
I don't have any reported at this point.
I don't have
But
any.
if
So
anyone has,
I
don't have.
Just in an abundance of caution, I'm not officially back on the board of the Women's Law Project yet, so I guess it doesn't matter at this point. Never mind. I'm gonna have to figure out like an efficient way to figure out who the council are, because I can't tell from the parties who the council are. And so I'll have to figure out if I can just get a red flag if the Women's Law Project represents somebody, I guess, going forward. It doesn't matter.
Pam, could you keep a list of who it is we are likely to recuse ourselves? Because we ran into that problem last time.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll send out an email to everyone, and we'll have everybody respond to that email with organizations they're affiliated with, and which would create a conflict. All right, so you can expect that email next week, and just please respond accordingly.
Thank you.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thanks.
So I will read the cases recommended for approval. Kristen Coleman versus, these are employment cases. Kristen Coleman versus School District of Philadelphia and City of Philadelphia. Rashid Priyalau versus Bay Property Management Group. Cynthia Wilson versus Prospect Airport Services, Inc. Zamara Nichols versus CSL Bearing LLC. Adur Katrin Newman versus Spare Time Inc., doing business as North Bowl. Amanda Luciani versus Albert Einstein Healthcare Network. Melanie McCaughey versus Franchise Realty Interstate Corp., doing business as McDonald's. Cameron Irvin versus Jimmy G Steaks 2111 Abigail LLC, Nick Strafella and Christopher Calanero. Ryan Murphy versus the Philadelphia School District and Brianna Robb. Daniel H. Smith versus School District of Philadelphia. Public accommodations case. Robbie Ryan, AKA Joseph Robin Ryan versus Wills Eye Hospital. Elfie Walker versus Mount Vernon Manor Community Development Corporation. And James Crawford versus Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals, Inc. Those are the cases recommended for closure for the month of June. Can I get a motion accepting those cases?
So moved.
Rebecca Alpert has moved. Can I get a second?
A second.
Okay. Commissioner Laren has seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, so the cases voted on for June 2021 are approved. Next on the agenda, I assume, is Randy's report.
That's correct. I just actually sent the agenda. Excuse the noise. Happens to be a truck coming through. But yeah, so the agenda's in the chat. But as far as the director's report, just a few updates covering the time since our last session, May 21st, 2021 to yesterday or today, June 18th. Legislation wise, there were two bills that we were involved with, city council bills 210-329 and 210-330 regarding renter applicant screening protections. These essentially outline screening criteria and transparency in rental applications, basically giving through the ordinance establishing a method of disputing application rejection through private right of action. However, the PCHR, we will still enforce any kind of discrimination claims. So it really doesn't change on our end. It's just really two bills to help people obtain housing through a fairer means. On our compliance front, our commission chair, Shalimar Thomas, and we sent out a letter to Stake 48 regarding their dress code policy. We met with representatives of the restaurant corporate office to discuss the issue. They explained that they were in the process of amending that policy and that they were regularly conducting trainings, I believe about 3 times a year, to all staff. I think they have 12 restaurants in the country. Anyway, they're conducting regular trainings on anti-bias and related awareness trainings to reduce racism. Those trainings, from my understanding, come from their through YMCA's Racial Justice League, I think, which they had been working with since the beginning. We will continue to monitor the local State 48's progress in the issue. With respect to our prevention and education work, CRD, Community Relations Division Representatives T.R. Thompson and David Oliver, they delivered a Conflict Resolution 101 training to over 100 ShopRite employees this week. Abigail Sue finalized an AAPI book donation program, prepared and conducted AAPI cultural night event in West Philly. Carlos Aviles Macano and I were invited into a preliminary meeting with the Philadelphia Parks and Recs, MDOs, and Philly Police to discuss the city's restructured plan and working with the mummers groups moving forward. A second event of the city's Circles of Truth series, subtitled Safety and Solidarity within AAPI and Black Communities, was held on May 24th, 2021. The event featured a public panel discussion with local civil rights activist Dr. Walter Palmer, and AAPI activist and historian Rob Busher, and a private facilitation between City Affinity Commission members on the topic, with the intent of these commission members continuing work around this. The PCHR has been core planning partners with the Office of Public Engagement in the Circles of Truth series. Bunrat met with the Laotian Association, Cambodia's and the Cambodian Association regarding a particular incident against a community member that was possibly an anti-Asian hate violence. After further investigation, it was determined that the case was not related to hate. All right. And other noteworthy events for this reporting period, the city announced the appointment of Kia Gee, currently serving as Deputy City Solicitor at the city's law department, as the new Executive Director of the PCHR. I, who has been serving as acting Executive Director for the past 6 months, will resume my position as Deputy Director for the Community Relations Division. These positions changes will occur next Monday, June 21st. The city has also announced the reopening of city offices to the public starting July 6th. Due to the changes in leadership, the PCHR's return to office policy will be delayed as the executive team will work with our new executive director on this plan. And then regarding the news that we were just talking about earlier, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against the city of Philadelphia in the Fulton et al. V. City of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania et al. Case regarding the contracting of foster care services by Catholic Social Services. While the city argued the CS's policy not to have same-sex couples as foster parents went against local anti-discrimination laws, the Supreme Court argued that the city violated the CS's First Amendment rights and that the city's law were, quote, overly burdensome. Our city solicitor, Diane Cortez, stated that the court has usurped the city's judgment that a non-discrimination policy is in the best interest of the children in its care, with disturbing consequences for other government programs and services. And that at the same time, the city is gratified that the Supreme Court did not, as the plaintiff sought, radically change existing constitutional law to adopt a standard that would force court-ordered religious exemptions from civil or civic obligations in every area. So with that, just wanted to sort of open it up if anyone had any comments on anything I had said so far.
Randy, I think you had told us that you had scheduled somebody from the law department to come and explain the Fulton decision. I know that you weren't able to schedule that until the decision came down, and that was only yesterday, but I was wondering if that has been scheduled and if we know who's going to be able to come and do that.
Not as of yet. It's for the reason we wanted to wait for what the what was going to come down. So yeah, we can get as soon as we get a name and such, I can certainly let you know.
I mean, Jane Isfan I think would be one of the most likely people, because I think she was our liaison with the team at Hogan Lovells and led by Neil Katyal. She's also obviously the chief of appeals, so that might be one logical person to do it.
We probably will want to allow the new executive director to set the agenda, at least for the first meeting that we have. I think we're all looking forward to meeting her and hearing from her. Is there a formal swearing in that the executive director does? Have we actually formally sworn in the newest members of the commission? Those are the kinds of things that I think we probably want to, I'm not big on ceremonies, but I think ceremonies and transitions are important. So if you could put that on the agenda of your interaction with the new executive director, that would be great.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments? Stephen Avery, do you remember being sworn in? Did you have a ceremony? If you did, you don't remember it. So that might be.
I'm sorry, looking for that unmute button. No, there was no ceremony. I didn't know that was a thing that was done. We just started our tenure.
Okay, so there are some things that we need to catch up on there.
We had a common pleas, it wasn't a big ceremony, but a common pleas judge came over to the commission in person and swore in all of us at once. And I guess, yeah, right, Avery and we do, what about the third commissioner, Randy? I mean, is there any movement now? Do we have our?
Yeah, I reached out a couple times to the mayor's office. I haven't heard back. I do know that like they were sending out a letter, so I don't know what the follow-up was. I mean, like I haven't heard back yet.
I just don't understand why it's taking, like, we're going on like 6 or 7 months now. I just don't understand what's taking so long.
Well, we're getting a new executive director, and I assume that some of it is related to
I mean, our last public
allowing
hearing,
the executive director to have some say over.
but our
who-
last public hearing, we only had 2 commissioners, and that's, that's not
Yeah,
a big deal.
right. Well, those are the kinds of things that I think the commissioners might want to talk to the new executive director about. Yeah, and Judge Ida Chen has done, I guess, the last 2 or 3 swearing-ins, and we've taken pictures and all that other stuff. So we'll work on getting you guys sworn in. Any other comments that you want to direct at Randy? I'd like to have put on the official record the minutes of the commission that the commissioners want to thank Randy for stepping up and providing providing a seamless transition from our old executive director to our new one. He was a more than worthy successor and interim leader of the commission. And I want to thank you for your service. I want that put in the minutes and highlighted in, if we ever do finally do another year-end report. Any other questions? Any other concerns? Do the commissioners have anything to report with regard to their activities over the past month they'd like to have put on the record? Anything? Okay. I will say that I've gotten inquiries about what critical race theory is, and its relationship to the sorts of work that the commission might be engaged in, and I suspect that others will be asked to comment as well. What's next? The meetings for the month of July?
Well, I got one more thing just in terms of just to give a report out of our hate crimes and bias stats, and then we can that part. So just real quickly, in the month of May, we had 9 incidents reported to us, of which 3 were not hate related and 6 were confirmed. That brings our calendar year totals to 34 incidents reported, in which 7 were not hate related and 24 were confirmed acts of hate, with only 3 not having enough information. Okay. So there we go.
Okay. I didn't call up the agenda. Randy, can you tell us when our meetings are scheduled for the month of July?
So our next executive session will be held on July 9th, and our public session will be heard on July 18th.
Now, I'm assuming that we're contemplating continuing on Zoom, or are we contemplating the commission being required to return to the office?
As of right now, we're going to continue the virtual platform because what we're seeing is that, despite our city offices and such opening up, we will still trying to maintain a certain level of safety, public health safety and protocol. This is city office wide or citywide, so we will continue doing virtual until it's established that we can do otherwise.
Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting? I see Sarah raised her hand. Can I get a second? Rebecca, thank you. That's Commissioner Albert for the minutes. Avery is also with us. Want that to be noted. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you so much. And thank you again, Randy, for all of your leadership in the interim.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have a good day and a good weekend, everyone.